Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next is a scholar, a professional accountant, chartered tax practitioner, and a thoroughbred banker. Dr. Udofa holds a Doctor of Philosophy degree with specialization in accounting and finance, obtained from the prestigious Leeds Racket University, Leeds, England. Please put your hands together for him. In a career spanning over 3 decades, just like Madam Christabel, Dr. Udofa has been privileged to work in 3 prestigious financial institutions, including Cooperative Development Bank, where he served as the Managing Director, CEO, before the merger of the bank with First City Monuments Bank PLC, that's FCMB. He had served on the boards of some institutions, including the following: Financial Institution Training Center, FITC, Federal Mortgage Bank PLC, First City Bank Monument Bank, Credit Direct Limited, and FinBank PLC, where he served as the chairman of the board. He currently serves as non-executive chairman of Dresdner Capital Limited. Dr. Udofa has published several articles. His research interest is in pricing of banking products, customers' loyalty, customer satisfaction, and risk management. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Udofa John is currently the Chief Executive Officer of Sopra Capital and Finance Limited. With a round of applause, please join me as I welcome Dr. John Udofa.
Just wondering whether you're talking about me. Hello. Hi. Praise the Lord. For your information, I don't have so much to say. I think Christabel said it all. Please, let's celebrate her. So I will just summarize a few things, and then we'll take off from there. Now, for some of you that are coming to this program, I want you to take it as something very, very serious. We're not just here to tell stories. We're telling stories that should turn your life around. And I always say, if you can succeed in banking, the same principles, you can succeed in some other thing. Am I right? So there's no specific success element in banking. It applies to virtually everything. Maybe you have to domicile some of these other ones to banking. Why do I say you take this thing very, very important? A few years ago, I think precisely 2020, I participated in a program like this, Still Full Gospel. I think we did that program. They did that program at Imperial Restaurant on Ajose Adiogun. So I spoke there to young bankers like you are here, and same Bible portion. I'm going to read for you Luke chapter 1 and verse 37. You all know it. He said, for with God, what will happen? Oh, you don't know the Bible. For with God, what? Nothing will ever be impossible. Nothing. You know why? Because when you listen to somebody like Christabel talking now, or myself talking, you'll be thinking, oh, it is in those days. Immediately you say that, then you are saying you are not qualified for today. Am I communicating? Yes, sir. So what happened in those days are still happening today. One of the things he said, which I think you should take home, if you are in banking at 35, he said 40. At 35, you are still hovering around as an executive trainee, then you are in trouble. Am I communicating? Are you listening to me? Is it too hard? Okay, let me jump into 40. 40 is late. 40, you are AGM. These are the positions you are canvassing for. I'm not being hard. I finished banking before 50. That is, I had done, out of that before 50, I had done the last 5 years, I was the chief executive. And I left. And I started another life. So it's important you take that portion that with God, nothing is impossible. When we did this program in 2020, why I remember it's 2020 is because we're still wearing a face mask to that program. Somebody was there, and I spoke the same stories you've heard her deliver today. And we prayed and left. By 2023 convention of the Full Gospel at Naval Dockyard, I was there. I think when we finished one of the days, whether the first day or the second day, it was raining heavily, and I was trying to look for my way out. And I was walking away when a young man pulled my jacket. And I said, "What?" I don't know him. I greeted him. I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "Please, sir, my wife wants to talk to you." When a man comes to call you that the wife wants to talk to you, that's a risky agenda. So I went to see the young woman. He said, "Please pay me some time." I said, "Go ahead." He said, "You wouldn't know me." Of course, I wouldn't know her. He said, "You spoke at the bankers program at Imperial Restaurant, Chinese restaurant." I said, "Yes." So when you spoke to us that day, I didn't imagine what you were saying, just like saying that you completed a career under 50 as CEO, 5 years as CEO. So when you finished talking, I was wondering whether you are telling lies. So I don't tell lies. So I left that hall and I said, if this thing works, let it work for me. After you prayed. And sir, I was a trainee when you were doing that ET, this thing they call ET. We didn't used to have ET, we used to have management trainee. I don't know what is executive trainee. He said I was a trainee, management trainee or executive trainee when you were telling us the story. But today, I am a full manager in a bank. I can't believe it, even as I'm standing here talking to you. I don't know who will give that testimony. I prayed for her that the next story you're going to tell, you will be in executive management. I hope she's still there. I'm waiting for the next convention when she will pull my shirt again. With God, nothing shall be impossible. Am I with you? 3 things. She has mentioned all the things I needed to say, but I want to emphasize 3 things. In banking, there are 3 things that will take you up. Number 1 is which was our own number 1. It's called hard work. I spoke about hard work in some occasion, and somebody said, "I don't like hard work." I said, "What do you like?" He said, "I like diligence." I said, "Okay, as long as you understand what I'm saying." As long as you understand what I'm saying. See, there is no way you can succeed in banking without hard work. And that's what she said. You go the extra mile. You distinguish yourself. I talk to some young men now, they say, if you don't have somebody, listen, if you don't have somebody, your work will be your somebody. There is no organization where a very good performing staff will be in the list of those being counseled to go. Am I communicating? See, whatever will take you to distinguish yourself in the office, you must do that. Hard work, whether you call it diligence, whether the ultimate is you must produce results. Banking is not politics. Performance, results. 2 banks have released their last year position, paid dividend. Ultimately, they are paying 5 naira dividend. It's great. Meanwhile, everybody is saying the economy is hard. Things are hard. Zenith is 1.3 trillion. UBA is 800 and something billion. In this economy, not another economy, this particular one. Am I communicating? That is banking. You must produce results. Hard work. Hard work means you must make sacrifices to get the result. That's hard work. You can't succeed in banking without hard work. Number 2, of course, she has also said it. I call it certification. See, know what matters, what you need. I'm not going to come and teach you what you need. You should know what certification you need to move. When I joined banking, in those days, I joined Icon Merchant Bank in those days. Icon was a prime merchant bank in those days. It was the #1 merchant bank. I immediately realized that if I don't have an MBA, you can't go. You have Icon, you have degree, you have this. If you don't have an MBA, because the Americans will ask you, which business school? That's the only question they ask you. Which business? Which business? You say, Kellogg? This MBA was the certificate. I don't know what it is today, but MBA will not give you what you want. Find out. And that is why those of us who had no MBA, we had to, luckily the bank gave us what they call study leave without pay. We had to go and look for MBA. And I can tell you, it worked like magic at that time. There are certain certifications that work when you combine it with hard work. If you hard work and there is no certification, it may look difficult. Am I communicating? Hello, are you hearing me? In fact, by the time I wanted to Christopher said, compete to go for the office of managing director. They actually set a trap for me. But before then, that's why I'm a Christian. I studied accountancy at the undergraduate level. I didn't professionalize. So those who didn't want me had planned, put a trap for me there. But before then, I had overcome this trap, their trap. I had gone to lecture somewhere and they described me as a chartered accountant. I wasn't a chartered accountant. I went to teach another way. So, and I said, this chartered accountant thing, after the MBA, is very important. I have it. Started looking for it. By the time I was looking for it, I was a deputy general manager. And I got qualified. When I qualified, then I added Chartered Institute of Taxation. I combined them, put to the file. When they were looking for MD, because there are some people who didn't want me to be, MD is politics. Nobody will just come and pick you as MD. They put a policy in the organization that those who don't have professional qualification cannot cross AGM position. And they thought I would contest. I quietly, because you don't disclose all your arrows. I kept quiet and followed them. On the day of interview, it was FITC that conducted that. It was the consultant that gave the job. I did all the questions. I did very well. The chairman of the HR, who didn't want me, he turned, they asked him, Doctor, his name was Dr. Do you have any question for the candidate? He turned and looked at me. He said, Udofa. I said, sir. He said, you know, you are the, I was then acting. Yeah, you know the policy. Without professionalism, you don't have a professional qualification. No matter, even if you are the first year, you won't win. I said, sir, that is true, I know, but I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a chartered tax practitioner. He said, since when? He said, since when? Because he had written my CV without putting those on. So, Dr. Alo, who was the MD then of FIT, said, do you have your certification? I had laminated all those things. Because he in the first instance didn't even read my CV. He had written them down. He could write my CV without who I was at that time. The man looked at me. He said, wow, what am I giving to you? That certification, I didn't need it. It didn't change who I am. But for that interview, I had professionalism 10/10. I had 2. So 10 over, if I didn't have, what would I have had? 0. Am I communicating? Get certification. Pull them round. I said, some people say, no, I can't read again. You can read. Get certificate. That is what, because when all the odds are there, and there is nothing for you to have an edge over the other person, those little things come handy. Am I communicating? Yeah. So get certification. I have PhD. You think I need PhD? I don't need it. But as they said it, you were clapping. Because it's not easy to have a PhD. I will soon leave. Am I communicating? Yes. As they read it, if you call this hall now, we are not many with PhD. Yes. I deliberately had to read it. It's not easy. And I read it in England. I paid money to be going to England. It was a full-time program to study for it. I don't need it. It doesn't change. It didn't increase anything about me. But it had turned my CV around. Even if I speak, not like that. My communication. But then, gives you an age when you are talking, gives you logical thinking. Am I communicating? Yes, sir. Let me round up by saying that the last thing that you will need is that you must be a child of God. There is nothing, the battle not won in the spirit. Do whatever hard work you do. Get whatever certification you do. It won't work. Am I communicating? That is the biggest weapon. In fact, if you have tried everything and certification is not fully enough, that other one will fill the gap for you. Am I communicating? Time, they gave me time now. I would have told you one story now, but I don't know. Can I tell the story? It's a short story. See, I told you that when I went for the MD position, they disqualified me because I didn't come from the zone that they wanted. So don't say, why should they want, no. Zone. This, for MD is a political position. They said, no, they won't make me. I left them and went back to that number 3. That number 3 point. We prayed. The more we prayed, the more they are looking for me to go out. The people gathered, they said they can never make you. Because you don't come from here. But listen to me, don't ever accept what a man says, except God says it. So they gathered, they said it can never be. I said, well, no problem. We prayed. I didn't go to any prayer house. My house is my prayer house. The God we save, you don't need to go to Jerusalem. Where you are, He is there with you. As a matter of fact, we carry Him around. And we prayed and prayed and prayed. At one time, they called a meeting of the major shareholders and investors. I went there for the meeting. The first one said, I said, don't all my things. At the end of the day, don't put your mind in that thing again. I know. But not the sort of when we did that, I don't want number one. But so that when that after the aspect the first four, number one. Hit the second one, and those who saw it said that was wider. So when they wrote for them to make me the MD, they said, no. Did I not tell him that we don't want him to be the MD? So why did you not tell the consultant? So they asked the consultant, do another interview. The man said, we don't do one interview twice. I said, okay. At the end of the day, Central Bank said, we need to have a substantive MD. They waited. There's no way to remove this man. When you carry God, the people who do know their God, what will happen to them? And they will do what? Yes. After some time, they didn't have a choice. The same people gathered again. Those who gathered and said, you can never be. They gathered again. And what did they tell me? They said, stand up. I stood up. Did we tell you who make you the MD here? I said, you said so. You know, we've tried every way to age you out. Even the professional qualification we thought you didn't have, we didn't know how you managed. So, we have no choice but to make you. But it's not we that are making you, it is the God you serve. So, whatever God you serve, go and worship that God. Yes. I stood up to say, I thank you very much because I know God is using you. They said, no, He's not using us because as we are still sitting here, we don't believe you should be. Am I communicating to you? When God qualifies you, nobody will disqualify you. So make sure you hold on to this God, even when you don't have people. If you can satisfy number one, which is what? Hard work. Number two, certification. Very important. Then you hold on to God. I am summarizing what she said. She had given you these points. There is no way you will not get to the top. I didn't come here to preach for you to stop at manager. We have officers, we have managers, we have senior management, we have general management, we have executive management. When I finish, from where I finished, I served 13 years as NED in FCMB, 2 years as chairman of FinBank, every bank, the federal government, federal mortgage bank, I was there. When God is with you, there is no limit, no height cannot go. And tonight, you won't go back empty-handed. What we have released into you will spur you to the highest height. And with God on your side, you will never be a mediocre. God bless you. Thank you very much.